This is the lesson 23 video, and here is what you're going to need to complete this lesson. We are going to do the lesson 21 exit ticket, then we're going to go over the lesson 21 homework. Then you're going to take the lesson 23 sprint. There are A or B, it doesn't matter which one you use, or both. You're going to do the lesson 23 problem set. And then since this is the last lesson before your assessment, you're going to do your homework and you're going to come back to this video and we're going to go over the lesson 23 exit ticket as well as the lesson 23 homework. The first thing we're going to do is going over the lesson 21 homework. So go ahead and have that in front of you. And let's look at number 1. Margot finds as many rectangles as she can with a perimeter of 14 centimeters. Shade Margot's rectangles on the grid below, label the length and the width of each rectangle. So first what I did, and I showed my work with that arrow above, is I divided 14 by 2 to get 7, and then I found all the different ways that I could add up two numbers to get 7, and those would be my length and the width. So I got 1 plus 6, 2 plus 5, and 3 plus 4. Those became my rectangles A, B, and C. As you can see, I drew them with the side lengths of 1 centimeter and 6 centimeters, 2 centimeters and 5 centimeters, and 3 centimeters and 4 centimeters. B says to find the areas of the rectangles in part A above. So for A, it's 1 centimeter times 6 centimeters, which is 6 square centimeters. For B, it's 2 centimeters times 5 centimeters, which is 10 square centimeters. And for C, it is 3 centimeters times 4 centimeters, which is 12 square centimeters. C says that the perimeters of the rectangles are the same. What do you notice about the areas? If the perimeters are all the same, but they have different side lengths, I've noticed that they are all different areas. 2 says that Tanner uses unit squares to build rectangles that have a perimeter of 18 units. He creates the chart below to record his findings. A. Complete Tanner's chart. You might not use all the spaces in the chart. So, as you can see on the side, the first step I did was I divided 18 by 2 to get 9. Then I came up with different ways to add two numbers to equal 9. 1 plus 8, 2 plus 7, 3 plus 6, 4 plus 5. Now go back and look inside of Tanner's chart. The width and the length and the area are there. 1 unit times by 8 units and 8 square units is already there, so I'm going to continue with the problems that I found. 2 units by 7 units, 3 units by 6 units, and 4 units by 5 units. To find the area, I just multiply those length and widths together. 2 times 7 is 14 square units, 3 times 6 is 18 square units, and 4 times 5 is 20 square units. So the number of rectangles I made is 4 rectangles. B says, explain how you found the width and the length in the chart above. So, as I explained before, I divided the perimeter, which is 18 by 2, and I got 9. Then I found all the ways to add two numbers to get 9, and those were the lengths and the widths. 3 says that Jason and Dina both draw rectangles with perimeters of 12 centimeters. But the rectangles have different areas. Explain with words, pictures, and numbers how this is possible. So, in my little work below, I said 12 divided by 2 is 6. And I came up with the different ways to add two numbers to equal 6. 1 plus 5, 2 plus 4, and 3 plus 3. I just randomly chose 2 of those to create Jason and Dina's rectangles. It doesn't matter which 2. For Jason, I decided that he would have 1 centimeter by 5 centimeters, and I found the area by multiplying the length and the width together. So 1 centimeter times 5 centimeters equals 5 square centimeters. For Dina, I decided that she would have the square, 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. And the area, when I multiply those together, equals 9 square centimeters. So using my words, I'm saying that there are different ways to create a perimeter of 12 centimeters, and with different side lengths, there are different areas. Now you're going to have the lesson 21 exit ticket. Once you're ready with it in front of you, the timer for 4 minutes will begin. You can always fast forward or pause if you need to get something, and when you're finished, go ahead and the answer will be after the 4-minute timer. On the grid below, shade and label at least 2 different rectangles with a perimeter of 20 centimeters. So my perimeter of 20 centimeters, I showed my work underneath the grid. 20 divided by 2 is 10, and I found the different ways that I could add two numbers to create 10. 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8, 3 plus 7, 4 plus 6, and 5 plus 5. The directions say shade and label at least 2 different rectangles. So you could use any 2 of those, or you can do more. I listed all the different ways so that you could see if you have them as well. So I found that those side lengths and I created those shapes on the grid. Now you'll get the lesson 23 sprints. There is A and there is B. It doesn't matter which one you do, or you can do both, but just remember that you give yourself 2 minutes for each one. So if you want to do both, you can do A for 2 minutes and then go over it, and then you can go back and do B for 2 minutes and then go over it. After the timer, there will be the answers, and you can go ahead and pause and check what you did. Remember, you don't have to get all of them done, just do as much as you can in the 2 minutes. If you did sprint A, go ahead and pause it here and see how many you got correct. If you did sprint B, go ahead and pause it here and check your answers. Now we're going to be going over the lesson 23 problem set, so make sure you have the pages in front of you and we're going to go over each problem at a time. Number 1. Gail makes a miniature stop sign, a regular octagon, with a perimeter of 48 centimeters for the town he built with blocks. What is the length of each side of the stop sign? So I drew my picture of a regular octagon, which means I have 8 equal sides, and I labeled it S. Then I made myself a block and I sectioned it off into 8 parts, where one piece is S, and when I add them all together, it is 48 centimeters. So to find S, I said 48 divided by 8, because 48 is the total number of centimeters and there are 8 sides, and I got 6 centimeters, so the length of each side is 6 centimeters. 2 says that Travis bends wire to make rectangles. Each rectangle measures 34 inches by 12 inches. What is the total length of the wire needed for 2 rectangles? So in the problem, I've gotten my length and my width. So I draw my rectangle with 12 inches by 34 inches. So I'm going to find the perimeter. I add the like sides first. 34 inches plus 34 inches plus 12 inches plus 12 inches. That turns into 68 inches plus 24 inches, which equals 92 inches. But it says, what is the total length of the wire needed for 2 rectangles? So 2 rectangles would be 92 inches plus 92 inches, which is 184 inches. The total length of the wire is 184 inches. The perimeter of a rectangular bathroom is 32 feet. The width of the room is 8 feet. What is the length of the room? So I draw my shape, and the perimeter is 32 feet, one side is 8 feet, and I label my unknown side as M. So, if it's the same sides, I added 8 feet plus 8 feet equals 16 feet. So I know that those opposite sides are the same, which is how I got that. Now I'm trying to find what m and its opposite side would equal as well. So the perimeter is 32 feet, so I'm going to subtract that 16 feet to get another 16 feet. So I know that there's somehow when I add m and the opposite side, it's going to have to equal 16 feet. So I divide 16 by 2 and I get 8 feet. The length of the room is 8 feet, so the room is actually a square. Raj uses 6-inch square tiles to make a rectangle as shown below. What is the perimeter of the rectangle in inches? So I can see that one side length is 6 inches, and if all of them are squares, they all have the same side length, which is 6 inches. So I put little marks on all the outside lines because that is the perimeter, and I found that there were 16 sides that I'm going to be measuring, and there are 6 inches each, so 16 times 6. If I'm looking at that and I'm not really sure how to multiply 16 by 6, I'm going to break apart the 16 into 10 plus 6. Then I'm going to distribute this multiplication of 6. So now I have 10 times 6 plus 6 times 6. That'll make it much easier to multiply. 10 times 6 is 60, and 6 times 6 is 36. So that equals 96. So the perimeter of the rectangle is 96 inches. Misha makes a 4-foot by 6-foot rectangular banner. She puts ribbon around the outside edges. The ribbon costs $2 per foot. What is the total cost of the ribbon? So I draw my rectangle of 4 feet by 6 feet, and I'm going to find the perimeter. I know that there are 2 4-feet sides and there are 2 6-feet sides, so that's where I got my multiplication from. 2 times 4 is 8 feet, 2 times 6 is 12 feet. 8 feet plus 12 feet is 20 feet. Now I know that ribbon costs $2 per foot, so I need to find the total cost of the ribbon. So if I have 20 feet and it's $2 a foot, I'm going to multiply 20 times $2, which equals $40. So the total cost of the ribbon is $40. Colton buys a roll of wire fencing that is 120 yards long. He uses it to fence in his 18-yard by 24-yard rectangular garden. Will Colton have enough wire fencing left over to fence in a 6-yard by 8-yard rectangular play space for his pet rabbit? So I broke this down into multiple steps. So let's look at step 1. I'm going to draw the first rectangular garden, 18 yards by 24 yards, and I'm going to find the perimeter. 24 yards plus 24 yards plus 18 yards plus 18 yards. 24 plus 24 is 48. 18 plus 18 is 36. 48 plus 36 is 84 yards. Now, I'm going to take that away from the total in step 2. So let's look at step 2. I have a tape diagram where the total is the 120 yards. One piece is the 84 yards I've already done, and I've labeled W as whatever is left over. So I'm going to subtract 84 from 120 and I get 36 yards. So he has 36 yards left. Now going to step 3, I need to find out if he has enough for the 6-yard by 8-yard rectangular play space for his pet rabbit. So I draw that rectangle, 8 yards by 6 yards. I'm going to find the perimeter and I add up all the sides. 8 yards plus 8 yards plus 6 yards plus 6 yards. So that turns into 16 yards plus 12 yards, which is now 28 yards. Now let's look at step 4. We're going to discover if he has enough fencing left over to make his rabbit space. So if he had 36 yards left over and he needs 28 yards for his rabbit space, I say that yes, he will have enough because he has 36 yards and he only needs 28 yards. That is the end of lesson 23. However, you will be doing your assessment on Wednesday, and so we will not have another lesson before then. We are going to do the lesson 23 exit ticket and the lesson 23 homework in this video as well. So what I want you to do is go do the homework and then come back when you're ready. You should have done the lesson 23 homework by now. Pretending that this is a new lesson video, we're going to move on as a review. So go ahead and put the lesson 23 exit ticket in front of you, and when you're ready, the 4-minute timer will begin, and then you can go over your answers. Adriana traces a regular triangle to create the shape below. The perimeter of her shape is 72 centimeters. What are the side lengths of the triangle? So the first thing I did was I put a little mark on each of the outside side lengths. This is what will become the perimeter. And I noticed that there are 8 sides. If the total perimeter is 72 centimeters and there are 8 sides, I divided 72 by 8 to get 9 centimeters. These are regular triangles, which means each side is equal, so now I know that the side lengths of the triangle are 9 centimeters. Now we're going to go over the Lesson 23 homework. I hope you finished it before you started the end of this video, and we're going to use this as time to go over so you can have Tuesday or the next day as a review before your assessment. Rosie draws a square with a perimeter of 36 inches. What are the side lengths of the square? So a square has 4 equal sides. If the total is 36 inches and there are 4 sides, I'm going to divide 36 by 4 and I get 9. So the side lengths of the square are 9 inches. Judith uses craft sticks to make two 24-inch by 12-inch rectangles. What is the total perimeter of the 2 rectangles? So one rectangle is 12 inches by 24 inches. So let's find the perimeter. 24 plus 24 plus 12 plus 12. That turns into 48 plus 24, which equals 72 inches. But there are 2 rectangles, so 72 times 2 is 144. So the total perimeter of 2 rectangles is 144 inches. An architect draws a square and a rectangle as shown below to represent a house that has a garage. What is the total perimeter of the house with a detached garage? So I need to find the missing side lengths. So what I've done is I've noticed that the garage is a square. So those sides are going to be equal. So I've labeled each side of the square of the garage as 30 feet. Now I know that if that inside line is 30 feet and the opposite side on the house is 40 feet, I know that that leftover little mark between the house and the garage is going to be 10 feet. So I'm going to add up all those side lengths. I have 55 plus 30 plus 30 plus 30 plus 10 plus 55 plus 40. I notice a lot of like numbers in there, so I'm going to multiply them. So I have 2 55-foot walls, 3 30-foot walls. So I multiplied out 2 times 55 is 110. 3 times 30 is 90, and then I have those leftover 10 feet and 40-foot walls, so that equals 50. And when I add all those up, I find that the total perimeter is 250 feet. Manny draws 3 regular pentagons to create the shape below. The perimeter of one pentagon is 45 inches. What is the perimeter of Manny's new shape? So I know that a regular pentagon has 5 equal sides, and I know that the perimeter of one pentagon is 45 inches. So if I divide 45 by 5, I know that one side length is 9 inches. So each side length of those pentagons is 9 inches. Then I put a mark on all the outside lines of these pentagon shapes to get the perimeter. There are 11 sides that I will be measuring. If those sides are 9 inches long, I'm going to do 11 times 9 inches to get 99 inches. So the perimeter of this new shape is 99 inches. Johnny uses 2-inch square tiles to make a square as shown below. What is the perimeter of Johnny's square? So I know that one side length is 2 inches, and I put a little mark on all the outside sides that I will be measuring. And there are 12 sides, and they are each 2 inches long, so I did 12 times 2. I broke up 12 into 10 plus 2. Then I multiplied out the 2 inches, so I got 10 times 2 inches and 2 times 2 inches. 10 times 2 is 20 inches, and 2 times 2 is 4 inches. So 20 inches plus 4 inches is 24 inches. So the perimeter of Johnny's new square is 24 inches. Lisa tapes 3 7-inch by 9-inch pieces of construction paper together to make a happy birthday sign for her mom. She uses a piece of ribbon that is 144 inches long to make a border around the outside edges of the sign. How much ribbon is left over? So I labeled all the side lengths because I know that they are the same, and I'm going to add them up to get the perimeter. I notice that there are 6 sides that are 9 inches long and 2 sides that are 7 inches long. 6 times 9 is 54 inches, and 2 times 7 is 14 inches. When I add those up, I get 68 inches. If she had 144 inches of ribbon, I'm going to subtract the 68 because that is what she used, and then I got 76. So there is 76 inches of ribbon left over. Now you're going to use this time to review, and on Wednesday you will be taking an assessment on all of these lessons.